What's going on, everybody? This is Black Men Sundays. I'm your host, Corey Sylvester Murray, and we're talking about generational wealth, mental health, finance, and business.
It's a Black Man Sunday. Time to put all childish things away. I refuse to be the man I was yesterday. Gotta put my best foot forward and elevate.
And today we have Simone K. Son, this sister from Muskegon, Michigan. She's also the CEO of Candace Capital Holdings and all of their subsidiaries. Her newest initiative is Bank Black. We're gonna find out what that is. I'm hearing it's some AI system technology to level the playing field. So we definitely want to know about that. This sister's also on the board of several social and racial equity organizations. We talking local, national, and international. And she's also the national director of social economics for minorities for medical marijuana, which is the largest minority marijuana trade group in the nation. And check this out. This sister was also on Shark Tank. So without further ado, Simone K. Son from Muskegon, Michigan. Welcome to Black Men Sundays, sister. How you doing?
I'm doing fine. Thank you so much for having me, Corey. I really appreciate this.
Oh, definitely. And I'm excited and we must get going. I want to know about this Bank Black initiative. What's up with that?
So, Bank Black Initiative is something that I came up with. Probably been working on it for a couple of years. So, as you said, I own Candace Capital Insurance Agency. And we focus on the protection needs of commercial cannabis, craft beverage, professional athletes, and hospitality. So, insurance. And during this time, I got a chance to kind of do a lot of cool things for social equity. And for those of you that don't know what social equity is, it means pretty much it is, especially in the cannabis space, looking for opportunities for people who are most harmed on the war on drugs, especially people of color, disadvantaged areas, then they're able to get provisions for licensing, right? In that. And so but equity means ownership, and that means absolutely nothing if you don't own anything. And so, to put it in short, a cannabis license, commercial cannabis license, only lasts for 1 year. So, if you don't have access to capital, it means nothing. The whole desire of the world can say everybody in the world gets a cannabis license, and it means absolutely nothing if you can't actually open up the business. So, while doing this, I got a chance to do quite a few cool things in Michigan. The current social equity programs that are actually incepted in Michigan, All Star Program and joint ventures, were my babies. They came out of a group, a social equity work group that I was a part of, and I was chairwoman for Access to Capital. In addition to that, I also created a interstate stock exchange for the state of Michigan for for marijuana, which was a wonderful idea, right? But God protects babies and fools, because at the time, what we didn't know is that so many businesses, especially when we talk about social equity, only had a 24-month shelf life, right? So you may be, what state are you in, Corey, right now?
Yeah, I'm in Florida. My brother Eric, he's in Tennessee.
Okay, so let's talk about Florida, right? So Florida's got a lot going on, been medical for quite some time. It's been a lot of back and forth with possibly going adult use. You may even bump into someone who tells you, I used to have a cannabis business. That's crazy. The industry is less than 10 years old. How did you used to have a cannabis business, right? So that lets me know that there's some things that weren't there. There were some bad business decisions. Maybe you were undercapitalized, a host of other things that were not there, right? So as I went through and we went through the trying to make the Michigan Marijuana Stock Exchange, even with the due diligence, there were so many businesses, and we were allowing what have happened was Michigan State residents would have been able to invest in businesses that were commercial cannabis. Great idea, great concept, but everybody would have lost their shirt because many of those businesses did not stay in inception. And so at that point, I started to realize what is keeping us from being sustainable, right? And of course, we know it's being undercapitalized. But in addition to that, we also have to look at the social economics that we have and the relationship that us as people of color have with money. And during this change of how income is actually being brought in, we had to actually also look at how do we redefine credit worthiness, right? In a manner that is going to be adopted by states and a host of others. So as you said, I got a chance to sit on the board of directors of everything smoking, right? I am the chairwoman of the NCIA risk management. I am the committee officer for ASTM, which is where we're pushing this narrative. For those of you who do not know what ASTM it is, ASTM International is the only recognized trade group by the global trade, right? And so it started in 1919 with the railroad. So it's the OSHA of everything else in the industry. So the reason why you go to Africa or you go to Germany or you go to the United States and chairs are all a certain height and a certain width, that is because it's meeting the ASTM guidelines and standards. So I was able to get on this board, and I went in and I decided that, one of the things that we needed to look at is how do we get states, corporations, and communities to all speak the same language when we're talking about social equity lending. So we created a platform, which is an AI platform that does underwriting data algorithms, but it gives points in addition to what traditional lending looks at. So we look at social capital. Are these entities having relationships with organizations outside of them, that are big in the cannabis space? That's very, very important. Your network is your net worth, right? How are we looking at demographics? Are they being realistic? One of the things that we got to understand is that weed is a commodity, right? And so it has a market value. So with that, we have to be able to be realistic about what's going to happen in those spaces. Most social equity awardees are deemed by demographics, means your area. So you're already telling me I'm in a disadvantaged area, but you hold my feet to the same fire as somebody who isn't. That doesn't make sense. The other thing is that most social equity awardees are really, really delusional about how much money they're going to make, which makes them undercapitalized. I ask all of them. I get probably about 10 people that call me a day. Tell me, Simone, I need some money. I say, okay, cool. Let's look at this. How much do you plan on making the first year? I don't care who it is. They all tell me the same number, $1 million. Everybody, I don't care where they come from. They can call me from Alaska. They can call me from Florida. They can call me from anywhere. They're going to tell me $1 million. That is so not true. It is so not true. First year that a social equity awardee makes is probably about $150,000 to $300,000, and that's before or after 280E. 280E is the tax burden that they must carry, that they have to pay 25 to 40% of their revenue to Uncle Sam, right? The second year, if they stay in business, they're looking at $500,000 to $750,000. It is by the third year that they make the $1 million. So let's look at why this is all important. Our goal is to be able to craft an underwriting system that allows for states to be able to adopt it and be able to mitigate risk for banks and to be able to invite and create sustainable businesses for people of color, right? So it's an ecosystem. So the first thing that we do is we start off with the insurance, okay? So of course, we can offer them insurance. They're going to need that to be able to get their state licenses. So we're all on the same page with that. Every state usually has a general liability requirement that each commercial license will need to have. The next thing is that we have an actual credit building program. Now, I don't know who told these people this, because I've been a Black woman my whole life. You know what I mean? I've been a Black woman. Nobody has ever told me yes about anything, right? I got a man, he loves me to death. I asked him for something, he said, baby, we're gonna see. He never just said yes. Now, I mean, nobody, my mother, my father has never just told me yes. I think many of the entities and the individuals who are making these decisions, quote unquote, for what banking could look like, they've been white counterparts where nobody has ever told them no. So in this, I realized that we had to put ourselves, our culture in a position to be able to say yes. So the next thing is making sure that businesses actually establish business credit. Having business history, being able to be fundable is very, very important, right? That's important at any time. So if and when the needle moves and Chase Bank decides that they're going to bank cannabis, we don't have time to be getting ready. We got to stay ready, right? The next thing is creating a platform for the underwriting system, which is the Bank Black system. Hey, Ray, I'm gonna need you to turn that down. Okay. Okay. So the next thing is that we got to be able to create a underwriting system. So that underwriting system, as I said, it embodies everything but creates sustainable businesses. Also has ancillary incubator and accelerator programs that we can get these companies from instead of 2 years to 3 to 5 years. Why is that important for sustainability? Because at that 3-year mark, we've already said that they can make 1 million, that they should be up at $1 million. In that, we bring it right back to insurance, and then we're creating protection needs and not creating generational wealth. Because generational wealth is not about your profit; it's about your protection.
Yeah, oh, great information. Great information. I think knocked like 4 questions I have for you out the way. I appreciate that.
Really? Okay,
Definitely.
this
Oh
is my
yeah.
first time at the rodeo, baby.
Oh, I love it. I'm like, all I had to do was plug you in. You good to go.
Yeah. It
Yeah,
ain't my first time at the rodeo.
definitely.
But
I
go
see.
ahead.
Okay, definitely. But let's talk about like with the bank black. What I'm really and you mentioned it. I just want you to go a little deeper as far as the AI perspective of it.
I'm the beta queen, right? I have always been uh kind of ahead of my game. Not that I'm so smart. I am very, very driven by God, right? So I don't make it, I'm not the CEO. God is for real. And so I take no credit for myself. Any of the mistakes, they're mine, but everything else. And so even when I started in late 2017, 2018, when I actually started the insurance company focusing on cannabis, it was only five insurance agencies in the whole United States that focused on cannabis, right? Here it is. I think we might have 50 or whatever, but it's still a small handful. So as we started to go in, the first thing that we did, we ended up bidding for a award to manage 8.1 million in New York City as a fund manager. We made it to I think we were in the top 3, my company. And at that time we kind of teamed up with an AI company to be able to get this platform, and we created some underwriting solutions for that. With that being said, I merged the idea of this Michigan Stock Exchange, along with what's going to mitigate risk. Well, we want to mitigate risk, but also we want to be able to be as proficient as possible with the data. So with this data, it's going to be able to project the likelihood of those loans being able to be sustainable. It is going to be able to project not only the data that is current, how long that they will be able to be in inception, and then we build out a full platform. Now, what this does is for states, they're able to mitigate their risk, and they're being able to support it, because in most cases, when money is being granted to social equity, it's coming from one or two places. Either it's coming from the taxpayers' dollars, or it's coming from investors. And then banks are then able to monitorize it and be able to, kind of handle it, manage it, and everything. So that is the win-win solution with that. So our solution is totally data driven, creates an algorithm to be able to give the point system. We've already created the point system of what they would be able to get. I mean, people get points for having a stable home and for healthcare. Something that people don't even really realize is that, do you know, getting sick can totally, it's grand opening, grand closing, right? Let's look at it. If somebody is in an unstable home, meaning that they haven't been in their home in maybe 5 years, or maybe they don't own the home, or you know what I mean? Anything, it's a transition home. They've only been there for 6 months. We have to rethink that and say, okay, if something were to happen to this entity, what's the likelihood of them being able to sustain? And all that is driven by our AI solution.
Well, I'm blown away because a lot of people I feel like are ducking AI, but then a lot of people are really embracing it. And I see you really embracing that AI.
We embrace it. We
That's
embrace it.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's awesome, man. Because you're an entrepreneur yourself. So what tips can you give entrepreneurs that want to get in the social equity lending space, but what type of money do they need to get started? Because a lot of brothers just tell me, nah, man, I'm gonna just get my weed card, then I'm in business. And I'm like, nah, it's not quite that simple. So if you could break that down for my brothers.
You got to decide if you're going to be a hustler. Every entrepreneur is a hustler, but every hustler ain't an entrepreneur, right? And you got to understand and decide where you're going to be in this position. I hate to say it, but I'm gonna be honest with you. In life, you either the hoe or you the pimp. You got to pick one, right? You got to pick one. So with that being said, if you're going to be able to compete in a market, you got to remember that you are competing against big boys. There's still a lot of opportunity, but you're competing against big boys. So making sure that your compliant, that your SOPs are done, meaning that you're able to have that you're meeting all the compliance, you're meeting all of the regulatories, right? You're meeting the service issues, that you actually have a really strong business model. and that you're prepared for the worst. That first year, entities that are thinking that they're going to make money in that first year, I got a bridge in Brooklyn you can buy. It's not going to happen, right? So, partnering and then also creating a culture amongst your entity that has business ethics. One of the things that I see the most is that a lot of people don't practice basic business ethics, like showing up to a meeting on time, right? When you and I was here 5 minutes early, you were here before me. We're doing most of our meetings are Zoom. Your biggest traffic jam is between the kitchen and the bathroom. You don't even have to put pants on. Why are you late? I don't understand why you're late. Time, people that have money value time more than anything else, because you know that's the one commodity that you can't have. If somebody comes to a meeting with me late, I know you have a poor person's mindset. We're through Dylan right off the bat. You also want to be able to make sure that you have real projections and real financials. Make sure that you can't be good at everything. I'm not good at everything. I have a whole team of people that work with me. First of all, I have the best assistant in the world, which is Akasha. Akasha, baby girl, if you listening, hey girlfriend, who is my BFF, but saves me from everything, right? I probably would lose my mind if I did not have Akasha. That's the first thing. She controls pretty much my whole life. But in that, I have a full marketing team, right? We have a branding team that goes in and makes sure that we have all of the branding done. I have a compliance team. I have an accountant and bookkeeper that makes sure that everybody gets paid. All of these things, these people, you can't just hustle your way out of everything when you're trying to grow and scale a business, right? I have an AI team that I get up at 3 o'clock in the morning. 3 days a week. My day starts at 3 o'clock in the morning. I have a meeting with the overseas team. I go to the gym. Then I go in and I have I pray. I go to the gym. I have my team meeting. My first meeting starts at 8 o'clock in the morning. The next meeting is at 9 and 9:30. And then I continue the rest of my day or whatever. You're going to have to put the work in, right? You're going to have to put the work in. So it is very, very important for you to understand that at this time, we're at a time in our lives where anybody can build a corporation. You just have to be able to put in the steps and the platform.
Great information. And let's take it way back. As I
Baby.
stated in the beginning, CEO of Canis Capital Holdings. Let's
Mhm.
talk about, before you even set that up, like, where did the mindset come from? And because I know you were an entrepreneur, but as far as going back to the beginning, like, where did the interest and the idea come from?
Crazy, crazy, crazy. Honestly, I did not think that this was going to turn into this. I want to be very honest with you. I had ended up moving back to my hometown from Chicago. I had been a financial advisor and worked through a bank program and a host of other things. And then I was not happy. I was not happy, and I had a mentor who told me, you need to do your own thing, whatever, whatever. For some reason, I ended up coming. I didn't know why I was coming back to Michigan. I came back to Michigan. I literally started the insurance agency with $400, which was a gift from a ex-boyfriend. Yeah, I started this business with $400, which was a gift from it was my birthday came up, right? And it was an ex-boyfriend at the time. And he kept asking me what was I going to do with my life. And at the time, Prop 1 was coming up. That was what was making Michigan become adult use, right? And so I said, I'm gonna insure weed businesses. And he was like, you could do that. I was like, shit, I don't know, but I'll find out. You know what I mean? I'll find out. So that's when I Googled, and it was like 5. And so he asked me what I wanted for my birthday. And I said, I want you to buy these licenses. And he said, you don't want a purse, you don't want earrings? I said, nope, I no longer want depreciating assets. And so regretfully, he gave me the $400, and I paid for the licenses. So the first year, and the first year I did not make a dime. The first year I did not make a dime because the medical businesses were going out of inception and the adult use businesses had not started. But from the first year that I started to 12 months later, I did $120,000, right? Eureka. So the insurance agency now is valued at 12.5 million, and that's just the agency alone. And so what I did was I was very diligent about what I did, right? I gave extremely great customer service. I worked like a dog. Y'all, some days it was times that I would work 36 days straight, and sleep in my office, right? It was just that when you have something, it'll grab a hold of you. I didn't want to go to work, but I couldn't stop. You know what I mean? I just couldn't stop. I couldn't stop. I knew that there was other people that I needed to do this for. And the business slowly started to grow, started to grow, started to grow. And I got a really great name for myself. And then we started to hire people and scale. And, you know, that was just pretty much it. But it was the tenacity. I never gave up. I stuck. And I didn't, one thing that I did not do is I didn't fake it till I made it, right? So it wasn't about me fronting, like, you know, whatever, whatever. I showed anybody that follows me or follows Simone Cason, they will tell you they watched me build this thing from nothing, right? So there was never, I didn't do the photo bombs of, oh, I'm out at Costa Rica. I used to be like, sister is tired. I got to get my good wig on. You know what I mean? I was so transparent about how much work it took to get it. And that was pretty much it. And I think when you're dealing with money, it is very, very important to be that transparent and have that honesty and that like, love, and trust.
Yeah, that's interesting because, you know, we've had other guests on that have successful businesses like yourself. And I hear one thing when I ask about setting it up or the ideas, everyone always says that, you know, they worked a lot of hours. Where I hear a lot of people think, you know what, I'm going to quit my job, start my entrepreneurial journey, and I'm going to have lunch every day at noon with my kids and be doing what I want to do. So I just love to
Mhm.
hear that ongoing. And then a lot of the brothers and sisters also said that they didn't really make money the first year. They spent, and didn't really make none.
I
So
didn't I didn't make money until I made that 120, but I reinvested every single dime of that. I just started paying myself this year.
wow.
I just
Yeah.
started paying myself this year. Yep, I really did. You are going to, but that's why, you know, even the AI portion, you know, it is very, very expensive. I tell people all the time, it's cost a lot of money to do what I do, right? It's a lot of sacrifice. A lot of people, they want to recreate the end result. No, it's very expensive to do what I do.
I'm glad you clarified that because I hear that all the time. And then I'll speak to them a year later. They're like, man, I don't know if I'm gonna keep this business going, man. I'm
Yep.
spending, but I'm not bringing nothing in. So, but then I hear that second, third year, then it starts booming, you know.
It does, but you have to take calculated risk, right? And so what I find is a lot of entrepreneurs are are looking to be impressive and not impactful. Those are two totally different things. You know, we have social media now, which is a wonderful tool if it's used correctly. If used correctly, you can really, really create a major platform of being able to get a message out, right? But are you able to turn that into sales? Because we do cannabis, our engagement is extremely low, but my pockets ain't, right? So you have to be able to figure out what's going to be able to be impactful. I used to do a lot of events and a lot of conferences. And then I realized I wasn't making no money. Right? You know what I mean? I didn't care about, and I just stopped. I stopped because I was more into creating tangible, impactful things. So things that were going to generate not just sales. And so one of the things that you will see on our website, and you'll hear me say, I am a social entrepreneur. I am a social enterprise. We live in a time where you don't I'm a firm believer. You can't help the poor and you one of them. I don't care what you say. You can't help the sick and you're one of them, right? And so for me, I have learned that it is okay, and we live in a time where you can be impactful and you can be profitable at the same time. So that's what we do.
Okay,
I'm gonna
great.
make $1 for you, but you ain't gonna get rich and leave me in the hood.
I hear that. I got you. And
We're gonna
also,
buy
yeah,
it back together.
definitely. And you know, our show's about, you know, creating generational wealth, finance and business. And we also talk about mental health on the show because I
Yeah.
started seeing that we started having a lot of CEOs, but then, you know, we would hear a lot of, guess what, you guys don't talk anything about mental health. So I'm like, oh, so we
Yes.
added that to the equation. But, you know, with your
Very
experience,
big.
yeah, but so with your experience, and like I said, we creating generational wealth. Do you have any tips for brothers and sisters that may feel like, okay, I've started this business. I don't have enough, I don't really have the income to hire a lot of employees. So I'm basically doing
Right.
everything myself. But then over time, I start hearing the mental health aspect starts
Yeah.
kicking in. So do you have any advice for those
Of
brothers and sisters
course.
that are in the trenches right now?
Yes, true story. The first 5 years of my business, y'all, I did not date. Not on purpose though. I didn't mean it to go that right, right? The first year I had came out of a relationship, and then second year I was kind of like on the grind, and then COVID happened, yada yada yada, whatever. So it wasn't my intention, but it was the best time that I had ever done in my life. My superpower, I will tell you right now, I am not the smartest person in my organization. I am never, all right? Everybody that works with me, I don't even say they work for me, but everybody that works with me is way more smarter than me. My one superpower is that I practice emotional intelligence and I'm emotionally stable. I take a lot of accountability, right? I'm able to see things from the other side. I have a very optimistic, I'm crazy enough to believe that I can do it, right? I'm gonna always bet on myself. So my thing to entrepreneurs is I oftentimes see people say, oh, so and so, my family don't support me. Da, 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 da. First of all, what you got to understand is nobody wants negative energy in their house. I don't want to buy your plate. I don't want to buy your t-shirts. I don't want to buy anything from you when you have a negative persona. That's the first thing, right? Go sell your drama to somebody else. Nobody cares. The other thing is that entrepreneurs, well, people as a whole, we have to understand that most things are not done against you. It's for the other person, right? So taking everything at heart is going to drive you crazy, especially in business. And then last thing I would say is stay calm no matter what. When you are, although you may not have money, you know what you do have? You have time, right? So again, going back to it, I did not have a lot of pitfalls and stuff in my business because I never took a day off. I was always ahead of the game. When you're in business, things are going to happen. They're going to happen. You're going to have things, but I was always very proactive. And I got to a space where I knew that things would work out. So my emotional stability is and still is my superpower. People work with me because one, I'm easy to work with, but two, I'm emotionally stable. That's a big, big win. Nobody wants to do business with a crazy person. I don't care what nobody says.
Yeah, okay, I got you. But like you said, you might be in there. It's 3 in the morning. It's 9 or 10. You were a little sleepy. You may not have had no breakfast. How
So
do you
then
keep that
you
stability at that point?
You balance. Good question. Balance. So I'll tell you right now. I still cook dinner. I still do laundry. Do y'all know I wear an apron around the house? I still wear an apron. I still cook dinner. I leave when I listen to my body. When it's time for me to be done, I am done. Right. I don't push it over. I make sure that there is a balance in my life of what I love to do and what I have to do. First thing is I would tell anybody, if you are going into business, and hear me very clear, and money is your only motivation, shut down shop now. There's not enough money to make you go through the hell that you need to go through, right? There has to be an outside motivation for you to be able to go through it. That's the first thing. So you got to have a passion for it, right? Money cannot be the only motivation when you begin. The other thing I would say is listening to your body and surrounding yourself around positive people. A lot of people don't even understand how draining it is, not necessarily you, the people around you. Do you know I don't have one toxic relationship in my life? Not one. I don't have anybody that calls and I have several cell phones. Okay. So you can get not one of these phones ring and I'm like, I don't want to talk to them, right? Surrounding yourself around people that you have positive relationships is really, really important. Other thing is being able to set boundaries. I think a lot of people are very fearful of being able to set boundaries. Know what your limitations are. Know, and people are okay with you saying, hey, you know what? I don't want to have that negative conversation. As women, we have girlfriends, right, that want to call us and tell us about their bad relationships. Don't do that, girlfriend. Don't do that. Don't call me with that. I got a man. Don't do that. I don't want to hear it. Right. So it is okay for you to be able to set boundaries on what you can intake. Social media might be overwhelming for you. What you watch can be overwhelming for you. Being able to set those terms and saying, you don't have to consume everything. And then last but not least, making sure that even if, when I didn't have any money, y'all know I would go to the beach and just take a walk in the dunes or whatever. I didn't have any money. That was the most that I could afford. That and get myself a slushie. Find something. That was it. You know what I mean? That was it. I told you I wouldn't date for 5 years, so I didn't have no boyfriend to take me out, right? So the most I could do in Michigan, they have the sands and dunes. I would be able to have enough for me to go and maybe stop at somebody's bar and get a well drink. But I did what I could to be able to defunk and be able to reset.
My question is regarding the AI side of
AI
things.
components.
Yeah,
Okay.
can you expand on
So
that a little bit?
of course. So on both ends, from the insurtech portion all the way to the underwriting for the social equity, it's really about just disturbing the market, right? So using technology, innovation, to be able to be better at customer service, leveraging these new tools so that businesses so that us as a whole can be competitive in any market. So when we talk about the AI portion of the insurance portion, what we're utilizing the data that's being pulled from markets to be able to be able to tailor make our unique protection needs, especially for cannabis and craft beverage. Those are important because both of those need to meet a certain liability coverage for us to be able to do that. So we can get it done in record fast. In addition to that, we have a 24-hour customer support that makes it easier for people to actually be able to get quotes. So someone can go to our website, they can put in and put in their information. We have a 24-hour customer service that will call them back within the hour and be able to obtain the rest of the information. What else do we do? Because we only work with these niche markets, our digital platform allows people to put claims in immediately. We also are inputting state regulations where our reg tech, they'll be able to click onto their state and it will tell them all of the insurance requirements for that particular state. We utilize it so that it'll have better customer service, and gathering information, and then we're able to gather that data to be able to work with what is our next step is we will actually have our own general liability coverage. So our general liability coverage is going to start off with event insurance, but because of that, we'll be able to use that past data and be able to get really, really quick quotes at record amount of time. But in addition to that, be able to probably be, in most cases, beat other markets because we're using an AI solution. Now, we use that same idea with the underwriting solution, and it's all about we use AI in one simple way and one simple way only, and that is to mitigate risk. That's pretty much what we do. So whether we're using it under underwriting under insurance or we're using underwriting under lending, it's still to do risk mitigation. So what are we using it for? We're using it to be able to create a point system that will help entities like states be able to navigate and redefine what credit worthiness is. It will also mitigate the risk for banks who are looking to be able to not only bank cannabis, but be able to manage those loans. And then last but not least, we bring them right back to insurance because under the ASTM guideline, we will be implementing what which is an interest single loan, an interest single insurance policy, where states will be able to actually insure and bundle those loans and have them insured, which will add an additional layer of risk mitigation. I do all of that and wear red lipstick.
That's first I'm gonna say that's incredible, and thank you for the detailed answer in that. Yeah, you knocked it out of the park with that answer. So I appreciate you taking the question.
One of the things that we do now is that we're working with we send out a newsletter to our CEOs, right? And we're really looking to get the CEOs to kind of understand because let's look at big picture, right? We say social economics, and the big thing is that there are benefits in big companies working with small companies, right? One of the biggest benefits is that if something were to happen, it creates a very easy pivot, right? They're agile. But one of the major things, especially in cannabis, is that we don't have enough entities that are prime time players. So the key to us being able to bridge this gap and really create a social equity, the issue with what social equity has been is it's a short-term solution to a long-term problem. That's crazy. You think because you already telling me that I meet, you are telling me I'm so disadvantaged. I'm so disadvantaged that you're willing to give me a certificate for it. That's what we know. You say you this disadvantage that I'm willing to give you a certificate for it. But I'm going to give you a short-term solution for your disadvantage. That's crazy to me. That's never going to work, right? That's never going to work. So we have to put ourselves in a position where we're creating these long-standing solutions that entities will be able to be sustainable in, right? That is, social equity in a nutshell. We keep trying to get it right, but unfortunately, what we have to understand is that, and that definitely in a good place, I believe. But the reality of it is that y'all, we can't be unoppressed by the oppressor. They don't even know. They don't even know what our issues are, right? They don't know. They don't know what our issues are. They don't know what our relationship with money is. So all of those things I think need to change so that we have more long-standing relationships. I'll say this last thing, and this is something that you guys will probably see a lot. Do y'all know people of color are the only businesses that are asked to be an overnight success? If we don't have a line down the street within a year, we're a failure. Now, I lived in Chicago for 25 years. That's my home, right? That's where I love. I could go to Franklin Park or any place, and I drive down the street, and it's a pizzeria, and they say been in business for 50 years. Now I know that this man is the papa whoever. He done mortgaged his house probably 2 or 3 times. He done did everything he could so his kids could go to school. There delis that are there and fish places that are still there, and they're 50%. But Black people, they expect for us to be an overnight success. If we open up a shoe place, a chicken place, we all expect for it to be an overnight success. That's crazy. No other culture is measured up to that. Chinese restaurants, they there for 75 years. You know what I mean? But if we're not there, and so we have to continue, we got to create a narrative that we understand that we have to create real platforms for businesses to be able to be developed. We're the only culture that's expected to be an overnight success. If you're not on Good Morning America or Feature, I'm so tired of Meet the First Black Woman and the first. I told them the next article, don't do that. Don't do that no more. Don't do that no more with me. Right? We are expected to be the overnight success. No, we are in a time now where we need to be sustainable businesses. I'm tired of being a news headline. I'm sick of that.
Facts. Yeah, we gotta number one, stick together and support each other. That's the biggest thing, and stop trying to outdo one another. And there's so much money in the Black community that
And
people
everybody
don't even
making it
realize.
except for us, though. But everybody making it except for us, right?
Exactly.
So and a lot of that is about structure. I that's one thing that I know is a disadvantage. We have these business coaches, right? Pretty ladies. Most of them are real pretty Black women. They do something for 3 months or whatever, and then have you noticed you disappear on my timeline? I ain't seen you. Now let me tell you why I got a problem with you, girlfriend. My problem with you is the fact that you've been in business for 5 years and you have not created a platform that you can continue to sustain your business. How you gonna coach me? You can't coach me. You're not consistent, right? This is the problem. I've been watching you for 5 years. You give me a whole bunch of something for 3 months or whatever, and then I don't see you for a minute. I don't care if you getting paid or not. There is no business that operates like that. The only business that operates like that is the Black church. That's the only other organization I know that think they supposed to make all their money on one day. Both of y'all crazy to me. This ain't a business. You know what I'm saying? So when we're talking about what we're looking at as accolades and our rathers are in the wrong place. You a life coach and you've been doing this for 5 years, and yet and still you don't have systems in place for you to be able to sustain the whole year. Girl, where was you in April, May, and June? What was you doing, girlfriend? I'm at a place now. Do y'all know I can leave for a month. This thing gonna still go. No, sweetheart, you can't coach me. Don't do that. I don't want your advice.
I'm really really interested in looking at your company and how
Definitely.
everything is running. So I'm really glad you were able to come on the show today. And Corey,
Awesome. And
Corey,
we are raising money. We're raising money. So if y'all know investors, we are raising money for the InsurTech company. This is huge. The goal is to go public 2026. So we have all of our numbers, our advance, and we are patenting the InsurTech. Well, we're copywriting the ASTM standard, right? So that's the Black Bank Black. That's being copyrighted, what those steps are. But the InsurTech background, which we totally AI, we will be patenting in that, and other entities will be able to use this also. This is really, really big. So groundbreaking stuff from RegTech, InsurTech, all will be 80% AI by the end of the year. So I'm very excited.
And one last question, and just piggyback off of that. Do you have to be an accredited investor for that, or is it just like?
So our first round, our pre-seed is definitely going to be private equity. I think we could do 35 non-accredited.
Okay.
With those being said, and so we are moving over to have that handled. So it'll be 35 non-accredited that will be able to come in that first pre-seed, and then after that going forward, and those shares will be definitely early, and then but the goal is to, and everybody that has Googled me will hear this now, mind you, this has been the goal since the beginning. This has been the goal since 2017. My goal has always been, everybody says, Simone, well, when is enough? When are you going to stop? I'm stopping when I ring the bell. So that has always been the goal. That has been the goal. Everybody knows this. If you Google me or whatever, everybody's like, well, when is enough is enough? It is not enough until I ring the bell on the New York Stock Exchange. I actually got a chance to go down, and y'all, I'm one of those weird people that like in my free time I read like Warren Buffett's essays or whatever. I went down on Wall Street for the first time, and I actually went into the stock exchange. I cried. I went in the bathroom and cried. I was so overwhelmed. I actually had to go get my tighten up my makeup and everything before I went out and met the people that when I first walked in, I was like, oh. So yeah, I'm a total geek. I am the chick that rolls over at 3 o'clock in the morning and watch the Chinese stock market open up. I'm like really lame. So I'm her.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I'm looking at Asia Squawk Box,
Right.
London.
Such a geek.
Same thing.
Such a geek, right? Such a geek, right?
So I can relate.
Right. So you're just like, and yeah, I'm just like, what are you doing up? I'm watching this. I will never forget. This is a funny story. There was a guy that was sweet on me. And you know how on Facebook you can see if a person is on the green light, right? And so it was like 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. And he texted me like, what are you doing up? And I was like, watching the Chinese stock exchange. And he was like, you should have just told me none of my business. And I was like, no. Funny, right? It's funny. But no, most people don't believe that that's what you're doing. I'm like, yeah, I got up for a minute and, so yeah, the guy was, he was like, yeah, you should have just told me none of my business. I'm like, nah, baby, it wasn't like that.
So you just making stuff up now. You just
yeah. Most people don't get it, right? They don't get it.
No.
They get that you're like this geek, and it's like, yeah. So it is very funny, and I think also, a woman, right? It's kind of like, right? With being a woman, they're really not buying that. Like, I could totally buy it from you, Ray. I'm not selling it that well though, right? It doesn't come off well for me. Like you, I can totally see with the baseball cap, the nice teeth. I can see, you get into money, a black. I could totally, Wall Street. I can see that. But me, I don't pull it off well. It's like liar, liar, pants on fire.
That's okay though. You know what? It don't matter what they think, and you can be a sleeper. They'll, like a sleeper sniper in these markets, and people got no idea. So it's all, but it's always great talking to a fellow investor and somebody who's in these market streets.
Right. They call me either what do they say behind my back? They say I'm the pit bull in the skirt, or they call me a corporate thug. And I said, y'all say that behind my back? They was like, yeah, you're scary.
Just means you're a boss. That's all.
I thank you, but
Just
I'm dealing
embrace
with
it.
weed and money. I'm dealing with weed and money. This ain't Sunday school. You cannot get to where I am being, you know what I mean? So,
First off, I have the hardest question that I always ask all our guests. Are you
oh
enjoying
my goodness.
yourself? You enjoying yourself
Yes,
on Black Men Sundays?
yes, I am. I'm having a wonderful time. So yes, the answer is yes.
Definitely. Okay, and I want to talk about you also were on Shark Tank. Let's talk about that.
Well, Cody Atkins Shark Tank. So Cody Atkins is like the guru of insurance, right? He's really, really big. And so he did a show where it was a spinoff of Shark Tank. And so they had insurance people. And so he's all insurance all day. So I was able to fly out to Dallas, which is cool because my brother lives in Dallas. And we were there able to pitch our companies, right? And so they offered either investors, partnerships, or mentorships. It was a wonderful experience. They could not help me, which I knew that they couldn't, right? So they couldn't help me because most of the people that were on there were people that were life and health. Now, our company is really cool. And this is one of the things that's very, very attractive with us disturbing the market. We sell everything from seed to sale. So, are you guys familiar with Viola Brands, Al Harrington's brand?
Nah, I'm
Okay, do
not.
you know who Al Harrington
Yeah, of
is?
course. He played for the Pacers. I remember him. Yeah.
Okay, so Al Harrington has a brand of marijuana dispensaries, right? And so his dispensaries have a pledge to have so many minority entrepreneurs and millionaires within it's like 100, right? So they partner with brand, they partner with entrepreneurs so that they can own a Viola brand. This has been amazing, right? We actually have several of their stores. So because of that, that's kind of how we got into dealing with professional athletes, because there were so many professional athletes that got into marijuana, right, as businesses. And we saw a need also for protection of these athletes under like draft protection and everything. So with that being said, us having now, mind you, we don't know Al Harrington or whatever, but we have their offset stores, right, so that they partner. And so we thought that this was an ideal situation to be able to do that. I use them as an example because they're one of our clients that we have everything from them, from their property, their general liability, their health care, their workman's comp, their event insurance, their surety bonds, umbrella insurance. I mean, you name it, we take care of everything. What we did with that, and that was part of, and I use them as their ideal client of ours because we're able, if they have an event, they call one entity. In most cases, what people don't even understand, do you know in HR, your health care and your workman's comp come from two different licenses? Workman's comp comes from property and casualty license. Healthcare comes from a life and health license. So there's no guarantee that both of those are in the same place. Can you have every single department that you have in your business has an insurance requirement, whether it is general liability, employee benefits, employee liability, auto if you have delivery, all those things need it. And so what we did was to disturb the market. We offer everything one-stop shop, right? So now you're not going to different places. Why is this so important? We now live in a time where the days of having departments of 4 and 5 people don't exist. Most departments have a half a person, and every single department has has an insurance need. They need a coverage, whether they're doing an event, whether they're doing, just their general liability. They may be needing to meet an operating agreement. Maybe they're leasing and a landlord is requiring a certain amount of premise liability. The landlord policies, everything is one-stop shop. So we were able to disturb the market in that. And that's why we only focus on those 4 industries. Cannabis was our first. What I did find out was through trial and error, hemp and hops is the same thing. A dispensary and a distillery is the same place. It's the exact same business model, right? So that was easy. Hospitality, we went into hotels, and then of course, because of our relationships with different with a bunch of different celebrities, Eugene Monroe, who is our who is our celebrity endorser. He's formerly of the Baltimore Ravens. We were able to have him, and so that really helped us build up our book of business. Wilson Chandler is one of our clients, which we love. Hey, Nobody's Home is one of our clients. So we have quite a few celebrity clients that are in cannabis that we actually cover for.
Oh yeah, you done answered all my questions, and I'm asking all our guests this final question. We're in an election year, so Simone, you Trump, you Kamala, who you rocking with, and tell me why.
Well, I'm a Black woman. I was gonna go with her either way. This is my thing with people. This is what I want to tell everybody. It's either her or him. Regardless of what you figure, whatever you think or whatever, it's her or him. Now, I am someone who I can look at big picture. I will tell you this. I'm a Black woman. I was going with her regardless. Okay. No matter what, I was rocking with her. But I do feel like it is a wonderful time in our lives for us to be able to take this next chapter. And I'll even take it back, for whatever reason, my people, we like an old miracle worker, right? We expect for this woman to hold the highest office in the land and do it in 4 months, but we got to do it the way that we want her to do it. I think that's crazy. We did the same thing with Obama, and I want everybody to hear me and hear me really clear. Whatever you felt like Obama did or he didn't do, the one thing that he did is he created a platform for it to be another one. That in itself is groundbreaking. He created a succession plan. As an insurance person, I understand what succession means. And so although what everybody has to understand is that seat makes decisions for millions and billions of people, not just you and Day sitting in the back, right? And so we have, since the beginning of time, been voting for the lesser of two evils. That's all we've ever had, right? So whether or not it's a party decision or whatever, at the end of the day, remember this. It's either her or him. You can put in a write-in if you want to. It ain't going nowhere. It's her or him. Choose wisely.
All right, there we have it. Simone K. Son, thanks for coming on Black Men Sundays. Had a great discussion. Learned a lot from you today. I appreciate you. I appreciate your time. Enjoy the rest of your day and enjoy your week, sister.
I will. Thank you.
It's a Black Man Sunday.